wake up, wake up, wake up. It's the first of the month, right?
Yeah, it's the
You
first of the
remember that
month. Happy
song?
May 1st.
Yeah. Happy
Yep,
May
I
1st.
do.
Oh, and then on May 4th, it's going to be May the 4th be with you, right? The Star
That's
Wars
for
stuff.
all the Star Trek fans. No,
I
I'm
think
I'm
Star
teasing you.
Wars,
For the all,
not
I know.
Star Trek.
This comedian Brian Potion, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He used to have this. He had the stand-up bit about how you go by and try to piss off all the Star Wars nerds by saying, "Oh, look, it's Star Trek," and then they would yell back, "No, it's Star Wars. Get it right." Anyway, he was a nerd stand-up. He was great. He was on that Just Shoot Me show with um gosh. Anyway,
David
let's
Spade.
keep going. David Spade, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There we go.
Brian Post. He played the big slow guy on Just Shoot Me. It was pretty
Yeah.
funny. So
All
obviously
right.
he's a
Well,
lot
let's get
smarter than
started.
Yeah, May 1st.
May
And
1st.
how did
Sunny.
those?
Good morning, John. Good morning. Good morning, Fat Chin, Low Gains, Orion Beast. Good morning to everybody.
How did that closing candle for last month look for the SPY?
Oh, it looked amazing. We can go to the monthly chart. So let's just show you before all those earnings came out yesterday, guys. Let's just look at what the SPY did. It closed the month above the conversion and the 1.414 fib, which means there was no loss of momentum with the conversion line or anything. It just regained everything as support before the Microsoft earnings. QQQ also closed above major support, right? Above the conversion line, yes, 471. It closed at 475 and above the 1.272. And actually, since it broke out in June of 2024, we have not closed a monthly candle under that fib ever. So that was a sign that things are going higher. So even before those stellar earnings, this predicted things are going to go higher. And IWM closed the month above the cloud, just like it has been doing since it broke out in February of 2024. So again, nothing was broken. Everything just went back to test major support zones, just like we see IWM, the 100-month moving average, the 236, 382. So everything just reverted back to the mean and now has the opportunity to continue its journey higher. We can even see that the SMH, there really was no loss of momentum either. And this actually has not closed below the 1.414 fib ever either. Since it broke out in February 2024, it has never closed a monthly candle below it, and no exception for this month. Granted, it's still below the conversion line, but it's been below that for the past 2 months anyways. So it's just consolidating, and I think it can continue this consolidation while trying to break resistance above. So nothing is broken. All that panic is for naught. So basically, we were correct in assuming that the bull market is not dead. Everything is okay. And I know a lot of people went to cash when things were much lower than they are now. So that's the difficult part of going to cash. When do you buy back in? Because do you buy back in now? Do you chase? What's going on, right? So the best strategy, I think, when you still see a bull trend is just accumulation, because things look like they wanted to go higher.
Yep, indeed they do. And let me show you my VIX chart. And I just want to show this 4-hour chart. It's so cool. You can look right here, and this is yesterday, and all price did yesterday was it went right back up to the 4-hour Ichimoku baseline to test it as resistance, and it came right back down again. And here we are this morning, and the VIX is even lower than it was on Tuesday. So things are just, as Matt was right, and I was wrong. I was worried that the VIX was going to come back up to this cloud again, but no, it's just Matt was right. It's just trending down lower. So higher stock prices are ahead. And, look at this as an accelerometer. Once we get below this green line, the longer it just stays in this zone, the higher the stock prices go and go and go and go. And then if you see the VIX start to accelerate into this lower line where I've got the take profits line, then that's when you know things are kind of getting overheated and maybe it's time to take some profits. And extreme greed might be the end of the bull market. I don't know. We'll see. Sometimes you might get little crazy pings at the end there. When's the last time we had that? Here. uh, July 19th
Yeah.
of 2024. All right. Matt, why don't you continue with, show us your Bitcoin
Yeah. Let me just switch over to my chart here.
or whatever you had up,
So
but I'm
let's
sorry if you had something else in mind.
No. Like, I had Bitcoin next, anyways. So yeah, with Bitcoin, this is the monthly candles here. We can see essentially this is kind of like a morning star formation for Bitcoin, right? The big bearish candle, kind of like a doji candle, then a bullish candle next, right? So that's like the formation of a morning star candle formation, and we can see that it closed above major support, wicked through that monthly conversion line 3 months in a row, and held perfectly every single month, and even closed the month above the 45-degree angle, the 1.414, which means there is going to be continuation higher, and I can see 100,000 sooner than later because that's just the next higher time frame resistance. There's really nothing in the way between this price, current price, and 102. There's really nothing, right? A big bearish engulfing candle that starts right at 102, and the previous monthly candle back in January also had the top of the body of the candle around that 102 as well. So I think that is where price is going. And that's going to be good for Bitcoin miners. It's going to be good for Coinbase, good for MicroStrategy, good for all of that. So crypto related stuff is good. And I was doing more buying during those dips yesterday of Bitcoin miners because it just looked too juicy to pass up.
Mhm. Indeed. Well, let's see. Oh, I guess we should do Tesla. Sometimes I forget I'm the Tesla tracker. I'm almost thinking about just going to Beam Tracker and not Tesla Tracker anymore because I had such a hard time with Tesla this in 2025 so far. Tesla, I'm still looking for a not this chart. I'm sorry. Let's use this one. I was working on MSTU here for somebody else. One of my subscribers. Tesla, I'm still looking forward to just this ABC retrace back up. So let's see. From the 488.54 high, the all-time high, to that 214.25 low that we struck here on April 7th or whatever it was. I'm looking for 382.236.618. And look, we already got the 382. No, I'm sorry, we're at the 236. So it needs to test the 382 next at 319.03. I'm looking for 319.03, and then maybe it drops back to 278.98. Maybe it goes a little higher and drops back lower. That's I'm just the minimum target I'm looking for next is 319.03. Maybe it drops back to 278.98 and then goes higher to 383.76. But we'll see. If it runs higher than 319.03 and comes back a little bit, maybe that'll give me a nice minor degree 1-2 to predict the rest of this path. The larger degree chart after this 1-2 that we just had is at least, let's say at minimum 657.88 is the 1382. So if it did like a 764.382, 1382. And then on up to over 1,000 when before this 5-wave cycle completes for Tesla. So there you go, 319.03 next, and just like on a short time frame. Let me pull up these real quick. Ultimate pivot points. A short time frame meaning today. What could you expect in Tesla today? Uh, yeah, definitely found support just below. It never went back to the weekly pivot point, so it's kind of bullshit running. Where's the next weekly pivot point? Oh, it's a new. That's the R2. Here's the R1. 307.03. Look for price to. It could like just jump down to 281.04 to test the center pivot one more time today, just in the morning, and then run up. Look for 291.30. If it really goes, maybe 300, but I wouldn't be surprised if it just would like a over 291.30 and then came back to rest somewhere down here before the end of the day. So there you go. That's my Tesla.
Okay, let me go take a look at my Tesla and just going to show you some monthly indicators on the chart just to show how it closed the month. And yeah, it just closed the month above lots of support, right? We can see that the 50-month moving average 251.92 closed above. It closed above the 702, closed above the 45-degree angle, closed above the arc, closed above all that. Still below the baseline conversion line, but that's just because it had a massive explosion and a massive retrace. So we can see that it can be in this range for some time, but I think what we might see is just a continuation higher through these levels, because we go to the weekly chart, we can see there's really no weekly resistance above right now until we get to the 300s. But there is some weekly resistance right around 295, and we can see that on the linear scale, and that's the linear scale 618 fib 295.05. So before we get to 300, there is that, plus the daily 200 moving average. You got to look at that too. It's at 291.88, so that's been blocking it for some time, but it's been inside the daily cloud. It looks like it really wants to consider or consolidate a little bit longer and then make its way higher. So just a little bit of resistance in the lower to mid 290s, and then I think after that it'll be good for 300. So good developments. And whatever that news was for Elon and a new CEO, I guess it was fake, but it's not really affecting the price right now either way.
Yeah, it sounds like fake news to me too. Just something to rattle the cages of everybody. Um,
Yeah.
let's see. So I've got a request. I see John's asking about Hood and HIMS, and oh, I'm so glad you asked. Uh, show you our Robinhood chart. Thank you, Matt. You can see there's a good on the daily chart. There's a good bit of institutional interest, and retail is getting squeezed out by them. So, 50 of above 50% on red and the MCDX plus, and less than 10% in green is bullish. Over 75%, or over 70% in red, and less than 10% in green is super bullish. Just to keep that in mind. After making 5 waves up to 66.91, and then a higher low down here at 29.66. I was expecting a minimum of the 382.236, and you can see how the 382 was resistance right here on April 28th. I see there's a big sell order block waiting up here at the 618. So let's just say if price does not, if price can, let's just say it this way, if price happens to go over 51.75, then I will start to look for the wave one going all the way to the 618, and then maybe back to the 236 or the 382. I've been noticing some different flavors. I'll talk about that later. But like in 2023, 2024, most everything wanted to go 764, 382, 1382. And then some things would go 618, 236. And I'm thinking 2025 might have a different flavor. I'm just keeping an eye out on smaller degree charts to give me a hint on the larger degree charts now. But yeah, so if it can get over 51.75, watch 58.84 next to the 50% fib extension. But then it looks like the market is looking for the 618 up here at 65.93 next. So watch each of these fibs on the way up, and then I'll start looking for the retracements on the way back down. HIMS looks really good. I'm doing a lot with the HIMS right now. I found somebody mentioned this, and I looked it up. There's a 2x ETF of HIMS called HIMZ, and I'm playing around with that. But let's see. I'm looking for, because this is really big sell order block up here. I'm thinking maybe this will also do a 764,382. So that's what I'm predicting right now. Look for resistance at, well, we got past the 36.58 resistance with that big candle up, and it stopped a little bit shy of the 38.2 at 45.27. But look for 45.27 to be resistance first, but then it comes back a little bit. But then once it breaks through, then 45.27 becomes support after hitting this $68.01 up here. So from where price is right now, HIMS could go about 100% higher before it does any significant pullback. So look for that. Oh, and then here it is, HIMZ, and I'm trying to do the same thing. If this just went to the 382, that's 23%. The third wave of this could be the second wave in the other. No, it would have to be even bigger than that. Never mind. HIMZ looks really good. HIMZ is riskier, but could give really good gains in an uptrend. All right, that's me. How about you, Matt?
Yeah, for HIMS, let's go to my screen here. I'm really just on the high time frame focusing on a couple of levels here, and the levels that I'm watching for HIMS is 34.79, and the conversion line is at 35.16. And yeah, it just wicked up hard through resistance and could not stay above. But the good news is it's breaking one level of resistance at 31.57. So I think if HIMS can stabilize above that, then I think it's going to be okay, right? So it's just range bound 31.57, 34.79, and I'll be looking to see if it could actually break through this $34, $35 level by Friday, because that would be a more bullish situation. And with Robinhood here, all I care about is closing the week above 49.52. That's it. And get back above that 786. We haven't closed a weekly candle above it since it broke below back on the February, March, right? Back since then. So it really is a great trend reversal if it can get back above there. And then once it's above there, it'll have like some free skies to go back up to the 60s again. So great development for Robinhood.
Yeah, and once again with HIMS and even Robinhood, where we are now with price, you can enter in if you weren't in it now, you could go in it now, and my retracements for support testing are still higher than where price are now. So if you bought it now, then it'll run up for a while, and when it retraces back for testing support, it won't come this low. It won't come as low as this again. So you should stay in the green from here out. SOX. That's not a SOXX is iShares Semiconductor ETF.
Yes,
Well, Matt
I
already
think
talked
it's
about the Van Eyck semiconductors,
yeah.
and here, let me just show you how I build this real quick. So for SOX, I want to let's look at the pandemic low here in 2020. I'm just going to take my Ichimoku or my trend-based fib extension. So from that low here to this high, and then to this low, this higher low, gives me these fib extensions on the right. So this is 100% of the move, and then you just stack that move from here to here, and then you grab it and you just put it on top of that higher low. And that gives you 100% right here. And it already went from there to 123%, 0.6%. And then it should have held the 764, but then we had all that mess with the tariff scare, and it pushed it all the way back down to the 382. So I would say, just in general, from where price is now, or where it bottomed, it wants to go to at least this 2236 at 386.98. And just how to get there is the question of the day. So let's do one more fib extension. So now I do a smaller degree uh, fib extension inside of this, from my wave 2 bottom to this to there, higher high, higher low. And then let's see, let's just push this to the left. Uh, there we go. So these are the bigger fibs on the left, smaller fibs. No, gosh darn it, I did it backwards. Well, anyway, so these are the my degree ones on the left. So from here, it's done. Let's look for a 382.236. I'm just looking at these ones over here, 382 to 236. And you can see the weekly Ichimoku cloud seems to support this. And then 1236, and then 764, and then 2236, which actually is too high for where I think it's going to go here. Ding dang it. Yeah, so I don't quite have enough information to do this mid one, because this one outpaces the other one. So I'll have to wait till we get a higher high and then a pullback to do the smaller degree part. But I would say it's very likely that the fifth wave of SOX will end up around 386.98. Sorry, I don't have a better, but even just to the top of the Ichimoku cloud, that's a 22% improvement. To the 5 waves up that this cycle would end would be about 109% higher than it is now, if this is correct. Hey, thank you for Midwest Cannabis for all the like. He's like, 7th like. That's like 7 days in a row. All right. What do you want to do, Matt?
I see a CLSK and a wolf, so I'll do those
All
little
right.
miners first. And so here we are, CLSK. This week it got rejected by the 200-week moving average and came back down to the conversion line. And this is no surprise at all why that happened, right? Big breakout, big back test, super beautiful. It's a trend reversal. It was a trend reversal ever since it broke back above that conversion line. Why? Because the last time it was really above that was way back here in November of 2024. So it's been a long, long, long time. So of course, breaking out, getting rejected, and back testing was was called for, and that's when I did some adding down here below $8. That's when I did some adding of my CLSK, and now it looks like price wanted to go higher again, and the goal is to break above 898. And after that, it's clear sailing above. So, miners, I think they're going to be really bullish pretty soon and just break out massively because we've seen it so many times where they go down for months and then they have a big explosion. So that'll be interesting to watch. Woof. We can see that it held the 45-degree angle and it came back down yesterday, almost back tested it yesterday, not quite. But right now we're still trying to maintain this 382, the 288 fib right here, 2.88, and it's above it pre-market. So that'll be the level to watch for the week. Close above it, then it's free to go to the 330s and possibly above. So yeah, most of the miners, they look super set up to do a nice explosive move higher. And just because we've seen this so many times, right? The last time so many weeks in a row is red, boom, explosion, right? So many weeks in a row red, there's going to be a nice explosion as well. So good developments for miners, especially if Bitcoin goes to that 100,000 level that I think it will be going to pretty soon. Then things will be looking nicer and nicer.
Man, I've got a link here. This is a crazy chart.
I think it's
Um,
Link the crypto, to
oh,
be honest.
oh, Link Crypto. I made that mistake before. I'm so sorry. You're right. It is Link
Yeah,
Crypto.
Link the crypto. Yeah. Yeah, I got my link chart here. So we can see that Link is set up for trying to break the cloud right now. It is going towards the 50-week moving average, the top of the cloud, and this Fibonacci level, the 50%, 1589. Big resistance zone, but I think once it tries to break above it, then I think there's really nothing stopping it from going to back to the 20s. So break above this resistance, it goes higher, but it's kind of pretty close to that now. But the good news is it got back above the 200 week and the 100 week, and it already back tested the 100 week basically yesterday. So this is set up to break resistance. Let's see if it can.
All right. I do have Lunar now. Thanks, Matt. So Lunar's a really interesting chart. If you look at it from really far back, I mean, from its inception, it once went to $136 a share from, I don't know, eight bucks or $7. And then it came all the way back down to $2.09 after that. So from $2.09 to $136, if it did the 382, 236, 618, you get this ABC here that I've got. And that is just a crazy amount of potential. Just to retest the 236 is almost 300% higher than when price is right now. So let's get a little closer. I've got this 8-hour chart. So looking at higher high and higher, like a bottom, then a higher high and a higher low. It went in 5 waves up to 24.95, then back down to 614 from this low here of 310. And these fibs, you can see the sell order blocks are kind of staggered a little bit. I wonder if I shouldn't move this down to here. Oh no, actually it looks like it would go up a little higher. All right, I'm gonna leave it alone. But next up, it should try to get to 1129, the 236 fib, and have a little bit of trouble getting over it. But then once it does, it should go to at least 1448, then test back to 1129, and then it'll go up to the 123.6 fib at 3314. So it's kind of nice still. Even from our prices now, just to have that initial test of resistance is 35% higher. To get to the 382 is 72% higher. And then if you held it the whole way from now, and if it got to this 123.6% fib extension, that's 303% higher. So yeah, Lunar looks really good. I think it's very likely the bottom is in. You could put your stop, I'd say, where this green buy order is. Maybe 750. Put your stop at 750. I mean, the real stop should go to 614, but that's a lot to lose. So, all right, there you go, Lunar. I like it for higher from here.
All right. I see somebody asking about XRP and Coinbase. So there's nothing really happening with XRP. There's the chart, still resistance, right? No change. 225, 228, 229. This whole zone has been resistance for a while. So let's just see if it can break. If it breaks above this week, then yeah, it's basically good to go. But if it still stays stuck, then just maybe more time. So just got to watch that level, 225 up to 230, essentially. Break that zone, it can go higher. And Coinbase, we can look at this chart right here and see that it's still inside the cloud and it's working on getting outside of the cloud again. So it does have room. Once it breaks the top of the cloud, it has room to go to the 50-week moving average, 228, 229. So perfect back test basically yesterday through that 197 again, the 702 fib. So love to see it break out trend reversal, back test of that trend reversal. So fantastic. So I think that was a necessary move to go higher. So coin, yeah, looking pretty explosive here, maybe 220s, maybe even the 786 right here. 245, that's exactly where Robinhood is at. So if it wants to play some catch up, it can move up there pretty quickly towards the 786.
I love that 786. I've got Rocket Lab up here next by request. This is kind of cool. I know there's a lot of stuff on this chart, but just kind of look at this right here. This, why is that there? Should go there. Yeah. Oh, so it did this retrace, right? From this 2210 high to this 1821 low. And then once it got over the 786, it couldn't get over the 786, went back, then did blow through the 786. And look, it didn't match 141.4. It peaked out at that 1414 retracement extension higher. And then now it's been building a base around the 100% fib. And it looks like it wants to, and then yesterday in that craziness, it tested back just below that 786 again, but we're back above it. So it looks like it definitely wants to go higher from here. And then if I just take that out now and look at my fib extensions overall from this low of 412 to the all-time high of 3334 back to 1420. Get rid of this one too. I'm looking for at least the 382 to 236. So 2533 is where I think it's going to go next. And you can see there's a sell order block waiting up there. If it goes higher, if it gets more bullish than that, then watch for $28.77 or maybe even 32.21 or 36.46. But first off, let's watch for price to get to 25.33 and then maybe test back to 21.08 again. And then the third wave would top out at $50.22. So from where price is right now to the top of, to the 382, that's 13% higher. And to the top of wave 3 is 124% higher, just so you can compare Rocket Lab to other things.
All right.
I hear a request for thoughts on Rivian. I just want to point out, I'm not hot on Rivian. I suppose there's room for, more than one or two EV automakers. Really, just, I don't know. Rivian seems like such a crazy. It's like they threw a whole bunch of money. This is what I put out like a long time ago. That it was in a lifetime downtrend. And yeah, now it's sort of building a base down here. And yeah, it could come back up. Gosh, just even the retrace. Let me change this from 1618 to 11.4. Sure, Rivian could come back up to 2783, but just look out. I mean, I don't like. I'd keep a short stop under Rivian. It's not my favorite automaker.
Yeah. And
I mean,
you-
it should do this ABC that I've already got drawn here, right? But it's going to have a tough time getting past the 11.4 first. Sorry, go ahead, Matt.
no, I just I just saw that. Did anybody short gold? And the answer for me, no, I didn't short gold. I don't like to short things that have strength. But this did reach the 2.618 fib perfectly and got rejected. And the monthly candle wicked massively above it, closed below it. But we can see that the weekly chart here, it was just a big bearish candle. And this is actually looking like an evening star formation where it has potential to even go back down to 3,000. So yeah, I mean, the top was like shining in everybody's face here. This is basically a top. You can't get more toppy than this, right? Big bearish candle right here at a major resistance level. And now we can see price probably go lower. So it's kind of a perfect setup for things to go, for risk assets to go higher and this to maybe trend sideways to down for a while. I mean, gold might be in a bubble, yeah, but I think we'll just let the chart speak for itself, right? We'll just see if it can actually uh, keep getting rejected there and go back down. But yeah, I mean, it just did basically go vertical since basically 2024 in like June, July, just went vertical. So a retrace would be normal, and even going back below 3,000 is possible to retest lower levels. So we'll see.
Boondoggle. That was the word I was looking for. My brain was thinking about Rivian. It's kind of a boondoggle. They just threw a whole bunch of money into it, and I don't know, they spent it way too fast. They got a prototype, they got production model, but they lose money with all the ones that they're selling. So it seems like a big expensive boondoggle. I've got STI, Solidion Technology, and I'll just tell you right now, once the chart comes up. Thanks, Matt. Um, Earlier when this was the low, it looked pretty good because it got past 11.4 and was heading for the 23.6 retracement fib, tested as resistance, but it never made it. And that was December 30th. And ever since then, it's just made lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. And so now this is what the chart looks like. And I had a position STI. I lost about 60% of it, I think, maybe even more. I just sold this. I just dumped this yesterday. I'm done with STI. It's not, I could be wrong and maybe it'll just keep going up, but I mean, maybe it'll recover, but when other stocks are getting a really good recovery, this one is just kind of still trolling the bottom. So I'm out of STI. I don't like it from here. But if I'm wrong and it goes up higher, then the expected ABC retrace would take us to the 382 up here. There's a sell order block around this zone. So 174 to 110 to 277. And if you bought some today, which I don't recommend, that is 1,400% higher to the A wave. And just to retest the 23.6 would be 864%. And just to fail to get to the 11.4% or get above it, it's still 400% higher from where price is now. But I don't like this one, so I'm out. There's other stuff that's going up much faster, much stronger.
All right. I'll do one more since I got to run away, and that'll be MSTR. And MSTR, we can see that price did break above the 1.414, so that is going to be your higher time frame support zone. It is well above that, but what I'm really looking at before it goes to all-time highs again is making a higher high from one of these candles over here, and that's really around 404, 405. I really want to see it start to close weekly candles above 405 for that confirmation that it really wants to start making higher highs from the start of this downtrend right here. And once that happens, then I think it'll just start going higher and higher. So we're basically approaching that kind of resistance zone here pre-market, but it's getting more and more bullish. And regardless, if it does need to retest 340 or not, I think it's going to go to all-time highs no matter what. So Bitcoin has the potential to break out to the 102, right? 1,000. So if that happens, then perhaps it'll start making higher highs from over here and go back to all-time highs.
Yeah, let's see. The person asked for ACHR. I just did ACHR yesterday, so just go back and look at yesterday's show for that. Let's see. So here's SoFi, which I think we also talked about yesterday. But I didn't talk about SoFi yesterday, did I? Anyway, SoFi looks good, right? Even after after the 2024 December sell-off, it still made a higher low than here or here. So I basically all I did was I moved my wave 1, wave 2 up, and so now it's got higher targets. If it did 382, 236, 1236, that's what I've got here on the chart. It kind of tried to go over the 382 just yesterday or this past week, or this week, I should say. So if it gets above 382, look for 618 next, and you can see there's a sell order block up here at 1709. Yeah, even if it drops back to $11.66, that's not very far from where it is now. I'd hold your position. You could maybe put a stop under 1166, but let's look for this to go to the 618 next, which still could bring it back to 1166 after that. But then the 123.6 for wave 3 and the 2236 for wave 5. So, do this here. Yeah, let's look for here. 50% fibs on here because it will have a little resistance at the 50% fib. So watch 1542 as resistance next, but pushing through it, we'll get to at least 1709. If it gets over 1709, 1917 is next. But let's look for this one too for now. All right, and that is my SoFi for now. What is it percentage-wise? From here to the 618 is 36% higher, and 106% higher to the 123.6. That's it. Thank you, Matt. Any final thoughts for today, this week?
Final thoughts. Yeah, things close the month bullish. So, could they go back and retest the support zones that we saw earlier on the show back at the high time frame? Yeah, we could, right? So, it's not like things always just go straight up in a line. Sometimes there could be more like panic, but the trend is your friend, and so far the monthly trend is not closing below any major support levels for anything. So that is a solid indicator, in my opinion, that the everything rally is still intact.
Yeah, SoFi is a beautiful example of one that it never got impacted by. It was impacted, right? But it didn't make a lower low. It's really strong. Yeah, it nearly did a 618 retrace from the bottom back up right there. Okay, well, thanks, Matt, and
right.
we'll be back.
Thank you.
Is it Thursday? Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow for Friday. At the end of the week.
Be back tomorrow. All right, see you guys.
All right, good luck, everybody.
Good luck. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.